Thanks, Dulce. Princess, I thought you had your hand up. Are you still want to speak?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I put it in the chat, but I just want to also say it out loud for those who aren't reading the chat. Just wanted to know, and this is a question for the community. Does affordable housing really meet North Richmond needs? Because there are existing solutions out there that takes land out of the speculative market, or are there such things as cooperative housing that create pathways for residents in ownership of that land and the community, those community assets. So those are solutions that are out there, and I wanted to know, just from the community, if affordable housing is really something that North Richmond needs.
Thank you for that perspective. I think, and you may have touched on it, maybe, Amal, you may want to reemphasize it, is that this is a process. And so your input as we go through it is very important, and to be engaged in it. And, Amal, I don't know if you can really talk more about it, but I assume that you'll be coming back here after you get your research and get input and then have a draft, and how that process works is important before you get to the draft. And maybe you can just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's really up to the MAC if you would like to have another presentation when there's a document to review. We're happy to do that. I don't quite know when that would be at this point, so I don't want to commit to a time, but that would be fine. Like I said, I do expect there should be a public review draft pretty soon here. And I know people are not to overly focus on the sites inventory, but that's the thing I get the most input about, and not just from folks on this call who have also provided input on and offline. So that will probably come out first because that's for a variety of reasons. We know people are interested in that and want extra time to look at it, and then a public review draft a little later. So sorry, long way of answering your question, Dom, because I actually wanted to chime in and say, I really am interested if anyone has any responses to Ms. Robinson's question, which she posed in the chat and then just articulated, because I think this is, I won't say, this is an issue that comes up, right? Folks in North Richmond maybe want affordable housing, and there's a lot of, there's some developers who are community-based building it in North Richmond and nearby. Is it the right thing to think about? Well, and we know that there's going to be more with the housing authority properties, as Tony just went into. There's opportunities there. So I'm kind of interested in if anyone wanted to directly take off from Ms. Robinson's hypothetical.
Well, I could just say that, we've been doing a lot of community kind of town hall meetings and things leading up to, the Los Deltas, RFP there's been a big, from my point of view, a real understanding that there's more ways to do housing that can include ownership in some form of, if not wealth building, stability. And so I think that came out of a lot of the meetings that we had. I think part of our process in looking at, what that RFP will look for Los Deltas, but even in the larger sense of what the community wants for its community is taking place right now on a major scale. And to that point, I think it's still being worked out, but a lot of perspectives are on the table now, different from what they've been in the past. And so, and part of our breakthrough grant and things that we're doing are speaking, well, we hope they'll speak directly to that. And I mean, I think that is the idea, to flow different type of developments and different type of opportunities that weren't there before, because we may have the opportunity to really have an impact on that. Are there any other?
I would say something, Mr. Gilmore. The houses, the people that were living in the Los Deltas home, they have been displaced because the new development that's coming in is saying that they're building, these houses that they're building is not affordable to low income families. So I
Well,
believe,
but before you go there, that's not a given right now. So
it's not a given. Okay,
no, it's not a given.
thank you.
Latifa, um,
Yes, ma'am. Can you all hear me this time?
yes.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Thompson, in the quality of life plan, the community kind of addressed that they wanted it to be like a spectrum of income. So you have maybe the lower income, but it wanted the development. The community stated that it wants the development in North Richmond to accommodate all the various incomes. And then also, we have Richmond Land. So we have the concept of land trust. So I think, I think the quality of life plan is a good guide because the community addressed the income. It addressed that it wants the properties, whether it's you're renting or if you're a homeowner, not to be, they just want the it to be not so different, so that you're not that everyone just kind of is on the same plane. And then it talked about green spaces and things like that. So I think it's a really good guide. And I think we mentioned some things that we want the developer to consider. And then we also said in there that we want the residents to be part of the selection of a few, I think it was 5 that we said want to be on the selection panel for developers.
Any other comments or questions? If not, I want to thank you, Amaya, for your presentation. We look to see you back again, and we certainly will be sending them over more comments, I'm sure.
Thank you all for listening and your attention. I really appreciate your participation.
We're going to move on to item B, and that's Active Transportation Program Grant, Market Avenue.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not gonna have that presentation tonight. But it was a follow-up to the presentation we had 2 months ago. The Public Works Department is applying to a grant to improve market, and it's part of the Safe Routes to School initiative. I'm gonna put a survey in the chat, and then I'll send it to the MAC board. They're asking if people can fill out the survey, and it's gonna go to support the application that's due this month.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to number C, and that's the general plan, Contra Costa County General Plan. I think it's Will.
All right, thank you. Hello, everyone. I am just saving the PowerPoint here as a PDF so we can jump into it. I thought there was gonna be another item in between, so it caught me a little bit off guard. So just give me one moment. All right, gonna share my screen. Does everyone see the PowerPoint?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, my name is Will Nelson. I'm a principal planner with Contra Costa County. And as Amalia mentioned, I am the project manager in charge of Envision Contra Costa 2040. And I'm happy to be here again. I made a presentation to your committee or to your council in all the way back in January of 2001. And back then we said that we would get together again. So here I am to give you an update on where we are with the project. I'll give you some background. Oh, whoops. Sorry about that. Let's see. Okay, now it's advancing. All right. For those who have not heard my presentation before, Envision Contra Costa 2040 is actually 4 planning documents that the county is producing: the general plan, the zoning code, and the climate action plan. These are all plan updates. So we have a general plan that was adopted in 1991, zoning code in 1947, and a climate action plan that was adopted in 2015. So those are all going to be updated, and those updates will be, their environmental impacts will be analyzed in an environmental impact report. So what is the general plan? It is a local jurisdiction's highest land use planning document. So all of our planning decisions have to be consistent with our general plan. And so when the zoning administrator or the planning commission, the board of supervisors makes a decision on an item, on a land use item, has to be consistent with the general plan. It establishes a vision for the future, it directs development, and it balances growth, conservation, and quality of life issues as they pertain to planning and development. Sort of restating what I just said, it affects many aspects of our lives, general plan. I'll go into all the different parts of it in a moment, but housing and job opportunities are dealt with in the general plan, community character and design, public facilities and services, roadway design, parks, hazards, risks to people, so flooding, wildfire, seismic issues, all those things are addressed in the general plan, along with resource conservation, open space parks, that regional parkland, that sort of thing. So it's a very important document that most people really aren't aware of. So why are we updating it now? It's 31 years old. It was adopted in January of 1991, which means it pretty much reflects 1980s thinking, planning, thinking and theories, which back then really was, still more just kind of sprawling, auto-dependent suburbs, nothing about climate change, that sort of thing. There are a lot of laws, a lot of things have happened since 1991. This is only a few of them, but SB 375, the Sustainable Community Strategy. Many of you have probably heard of Plan Bay Area. That's the plan that has come out of that legislation. AB 379, climate change adaptation resilience. We have to address climate change in the general plan and have resilient strategies. SB 1000 related to environmental justice. A huge part of our work on the general plan thus far has been related to environmental justice. Many new laws related to housing, a lot of new laws related to wildfire and other aspects of public safety. And then it has to be consistent with other plans that are out there, many of which didn't even exist at the time that our existing general plan was adopted. There's a local hazard mitigation plan that we have, the Adapting to Rising Tides project dealing with sea level rise. There's a land use plan for the Delta. So we have to make sure we're consistent with all these other plans as well. So the general plan is divided into chapters called elements. Here we have the existing general plan elements in the left-hand column. These are required by statute. You can call them whatever you want. You can organize them however you want, but the information required in statute has to be in there. So the existing elements are on the left. The elements for the new general plan are listed on the right. The one that probably jumps out more than any is the first one, stronger communities. That's where a lot of our environmental justice policy guidance is going to be located. So within each of these elements, you have these components. So you've got goals, policies, and actions. Those are really the meat and potatoes. So your goals are what you want to accomplish. And so, there are relatively few of these in each element, but they're kind of your vision statements. Policies, statements that guide decision making as you try to work toward your goal. And then actions are things the county is going to do. It's sort of like our to-do list or a checklist that concrete things the county will do to try and achieve those goals. Each element also has a narrative section, so your background, context, that sort of thing, and then a lot of graphics, maps, charts, photographs, etc., to help with the context and to get convey what we're trying to convey in each element. So when the Board of Supervisors directed our department to update the general plan, they instructed us to weave 4 themes without it, and they're shown here: economic development, environmental justice, sustainability, and community health. Now, of those 4, environmental justice is the only one required by statute, but the other 3, of course, are extremely important. And so going back to a previous slide, that stronger communities element is really the home for these 4 themes. There's policy language for them in most of the elements, but all that background data, the narrative, that sort of thing that I talked about in the previous slide, that's going to be in that stronger communities element, a new element. The land use map, most people really don't interact with the general plan. And for those who have, the land use map might be the thing that they've seen. Amalia talked about this, and Kevin was providing comments on the land use map. This is the existing land use map for Contra Costa County. I have one from North Richmond that we can take a look at later on if you'd like. But all these different colors mean different things. So so the unincorporated county is shown in color. Everything that's gray, those are the cities, and they have their own general plans. So just some of what these colors are. You have this sort of emerald, dark green that you see a lot of, like, say, in the center, Mount Diablo State Park, that's your parks, your regional parks, East Bay Regional Park District, all the way down to your, neighborhood parks. That bright blue is watershed lands, so protected lands around the major reservoirs. Dark blue is public land. So you see the military ocean terminal Concord really jumps out up there at the top. The refineries are purple. You see those are very visible. Bright green being open space. And what this map really shows you is that all these other colors, the various sort of shades of brown, lavender, red, those are your urban land uses, like housing and commercial uses, industrial uses. And you can see from looking at this map that actually there's relatively little of it in the unincorporated county when you look at all the acreage that's under our jurisdiction. And so for each of the urban colors, each of the urban designations, for the residential designations, you'll have a density range. So each one of those different gradients will say you can have this many to that many units per acre. And then for commercial and industrial, it's the amount of square footage you can have relative to the parcel. That's called the floor area ratio. One thing that Kevin said in his comment, which I want to correct, the existing general plan has single family and multifamily land use designations. We're scrapping all of that in the new general plan. It will just be residential. So it's not that the county is getting, quote, getting rid of single family designations anywhere. That's true. We're getting rid of them everywhere. No one community is being treated differently than another. The general plan is going to become more general in that sense. It'll just say residential. It'll have a density range, but then there's the other layer, the zoning, that I'm going to talk about in a moment, that gets into the single family, multifamily, et cetera. So here it is, the zoning code. So it's made up of the zoning map, which is very similar to the general plan map you just saw, and zoning districts. So the districts will say things like, it'll be like a general commercial district, or a heavy industrial and a light industrial district. As you can see at the bottom here, the general plan will say residential. The zoning code gets into a finer level of detail, like single family, multifamily, single family with this size lot or that size lot. The zoning code also talks about, which uses are permitted in each of these zones, which ones require a use permit. Everything else you can't do. If it's not mentioned, you can't do it. What the permitting requirements are, and then the specific site design standards like setbacks, parking, height, signage requirements, all that kind of thing is dictated by the zoning code. And then we have the climate action plan update. So this is a relatively new document. It was adopted in 2015 by the county, but it's quickly sort of become outdated. It sets sets greenhouse gas emissions reduction targets for us. Those are always changing at the state level. It's a plan to reach those targets. But why are we changing it already or updating it already? Well, it has been 7 years. When we started this, it had only been a couple years old. But state laws are changing. There are new strategies available to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Just basically all the bullets here. We have a better understanding of climate change in general. And now that we've had a few years to implement this plan, we see some of its shortcomings that we can correct, and we want to integrate better with the new general plan. Which really, what I didn't mention in talking about the general plan is that the existing document really has no vision. It's a document full of rules and regulations, but you kind of read it and you don't really get, where are we going with this? What are we trying to achieve? The new general plan, we are striving to make it, a visionary document that gets the county to a place in 2040 where, we are, building better communities, infill development, mixed use, higher densities, better public transit, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, et cetera. And of course, there's a huge, equity part of it too, mostly encompassed in those environmental justice policies. And so finally, the environmental impact report required by the California Environmental Quality Act. It'll analyze the environmental impacts of this project. Early next year, there will be a 30-day period called the scoping period, where we will request comments on what the community thinks should be analyzed in the EIR, in addition to what's required by statute. And then there will be a minimum 45-day review period of the draft EIR. Later on in the process, it's actually going to be 60 days, possibly more. So the schedule as it stands right now, from February to May of this year, the County Planning Commission was reviewing those goals, policies, and actions for all the elements of the general plan, except the housing element, because as Amalia mentioned, it's not complete yet. So that just wrapped up. Now through December, we're going to be completing the draft general plan, climate action plan, and EIR. We'll be releasing them for that public review period, hopefully in early 2023. And then from mid 2023 until the end of the year, we will be revising them based on public comments, and then preparing final documents for the Planning Commission to review and the Board of Supervisors to ultimately adopt. And I am going to wrap it up in a second here. Opportunities for public involvement. The best way to become involved with the project is through the website envisioncontracosta2040.org. There are community meetings. We've pretty much tailed off of those. We had many back in 2019. I think we had 4 in North Richmond. I remember seeing some of you there. We have had focus meetings. Those were focusing on those 4 themes I mentioned: environmental justice, economic development, sustainability, and community health. The Hazardous Materials Commission has been reviewing some of the draft policy language, mainly related to environmental justice and of course hazardous materials. The Sustainability Commission and Sustainability Committee have been heavily involved in reviewing these materials. The Planning Commission, as I mentioned, and the Board of Supervisors. So these meetings will be ongoing from here until the end. But I really recommend going to envisioncontracosta2040.org. There you can go to that address /online-engagement and sign up for the mailing list. There are actually many ways to become involved. You can sign up for, you can submit photos, that might be in the final document. You can upload photos of things and say, hey, this is a problem. This is an issue in my community that we would like the general plan to address. You can upload videos, the same effect. And as you can see here, there are all sorts of things, events, documents, our contact information, et cetera. The documents that have been produced are here on this page, envisioncontracosta2040.org/documents. And what you'll find here, 3 things I really want to, the climate action plan documents, the environmental justice documents, draft general plan goals, policies, and actions. If you hit that tab, all of the elements will come up. You can go in and see what all the draft policy language is. And then the current and draft general plan land use maps are in there. So there you can look at what are the proposed land use changes from the existing general plan to the proposed general plan, and actually the draft community profiles. Almost every unincorporated community is having a sort of mini plan produced for it within the general plan. And a lot of the community input from those North Richmond meetings have gone into the North Richmond community profile, which you can review on the webpage there. Also, a lot of material from the quality of life plan was incorporated into that. And so that is it. I would be happy to answer any questions you have. Oh, and here's my contact info, along with Daniel and Joanne Marie, who are also part of the Envision team here at DCD. I can put that up again at the end, if you'd like.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments? Yeah. Looking for hands, or I don't know, Tanya, if you see anybody right now. I have a question just in general. Can you just talk about the relationship of SB 35 related to some of the process that you're going through to how it can support or, more housing in areas that normally wouldn't be able to have them there for affordable housing?
Well, I am actually not the best person to ask about SB 35 because I don't know that we've had any SB 35 projects in the office. And being in long range planning, I don't actually process projects on a day-to-day basis anymore. And so I would only be speaking sort of theoretically. I don't really want to say anything because I'm not a subject matter expert on that one. So I'm going to kind of punt if you don't mind.
No, I mean, just in theory, if there are certain items in place in the general plan there that, there could be a way to move the regional agenda better with that. That's just a general.
Well, SB 35, if you have a project that qualifies for it, and this is, and we could, sometimes I don't want to get too far into the planning weeds, but when we're talking about that land use map, we currently have 12 or so land use designations for residential development. We're taking it down to 7 or 8. And one of the reasons that we're doing this, there are many reasons we're doing it, but it is actually to make things a lot easier and make it easier for projects to qualify. Because right now, if you have it chopped up into these 12 little things, right? It's like, well, you have to just fall right into that one or right into that one. Well, now if you have larger envelopes, right, it's easier for a project. It's a little more, it's just easier to fall. Okay, I fall into that one now, and you don't have to be so narrow with it. So that is part of the reason we're doing this. Not exactly because we want projects to qualify for SB 35. It's not like that, but it's a side benefit, right? That if we just make things easier in general, if we make it easier for a project to have the correct general plan designation, then it is easier for a project to take advantage of SB 35. I hope that made sense.
It does. Yeah. Thank you. Other questions, comments? Going once, going twice. Gone. Thank you very much. Appreciate your presentation.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, so we're going to move on to agencies. And Tanya, I'd like to, if that's okay with Tony, I did indulge you longer, Tony, because that was in public comments. I think that it probably necessitates that you be part of the, the agency program reports, if that's okay with you and the rest of the, the council. I would like that to be installed if that's okay with the rest of the group by consensus.
Yeah, it's okay with me. I just saying that I was telling Tanya earlier this week, without having new information to give you, it's kind of difficult, but if you don't mind the update being nothing new to report, then fine.
Yeah, no, a placeholder. And I think it's better there than in public comments because, people will want to ask you questions back and forth a little bit just to inquire. So I think that
absolutely.
Just for the, yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Is that okay with the council?
Yes.
Okay. We will add it starting next meeting. Is anyone from the City of Richmond Services Department here?
Yes, Jessica.
Oh, Jessica, go ahead, please. You're on mute, Jessica.
Hi. Boy, that's so much information that's just been covered at this meeting. My head's spinning a little bit. I wanted to check in and invite everybody. I'm with the North Richmond Mobile Tool Library, and I'm not sure, Tanya, if you mentioned this already or if you were going to mention it, but we're having a cleanup this Saturday, June 11th, and we're looking for volunteers. We're going to provide all the tools, and lunch will be provided. It's from 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock. and it's going to be at the two of the properties, the Los Deltas properties. It's going to be at the end of Garamita Street. So it'll just be a couple hours of basically some yard work, nothing too heavy duty at all. And I just wanted to get the word out there in case you or anyone you know is interested in participating. I'll go ahead and put a link in the chat. If you want to get any more information, or if you'd like to register for the event, I'll put an Eventbrite link in the chat for you all. Other than that, that's about all I have. The mobile tool library, we participated in the block party, the Jimmy McCracklin kind of honorary block party. Saw you there, Tanya, but that was a lot of fun. It was really cold and windy it was kind of cold and windy that day, so there wasn't a huge turnout, but it was really fun to meet with the people that did come strolling by and to listen to the music and stuff. I think Cynthia Jordan put that one together, but yeah. So anyway, that's all I've got today. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. We'll move on to Shields Reed Neighborhood Councils. Anyone here from Shields Reed Neighborhood Council?
Oh, good evening and happy Tuesday to everyone.
I didn't see you.
So we are so excited about getting to the final phase of the Safe Routes to School. I'm sure you guys have saw some of the stenciling artwork, and there's still more to come. And a special shout out to the City of Richmond Fire Department for being so supportive in this project, and to the county, Luz Gomez, Tanya, everybody, all the residents, and Birdie School. This has just been a blast. So we're looking forward to completing that project. And also the Shields Reed Neighborhood Council is in collaboration with Davis Chapel CME Church to do an active shooters presentation for July the 9th. So if you want to come out and find out more about gun prevention and how to reduce gun violence in our community, please come out on July the 9th at 10 a.m. at 369 Chestnut. And we also provided the after-school program, Shields Reed, with bubbles, all types of fun things for the last week of school. And let me talk about the Castro homeless encampment. So we're still working on that process. And the RFQ has come out as it relates to finding a case manager to work with that population, because they're in the process of relocating it. But as you know, it takes some time to relocate homeless or unhoused individuals. So we're working towards that process as we speak. Oh, graduation. I'm sorry, I forgot the graduation. So Shields Reed Neighborhood Council, again in collaboration with our faith-based community, are celebrating our community graduates. If you have some names you want to solicit to us, please get those names to us. That's going to be this Sunday at 3:30.
Okay, thank you.
To help with that patrol. So if you have your cap and gown, no matter what year you graduated, we ask that you pull it out the closet, pull it out your box or the garage, and come in your cap and gown to celebrate our graduates. That's it for me.
Thank you, Marina. And we will move on to Tanya.
Yeah, hello everyone. I was asked to share this number at a last meeting, so I'm gonna share it really quickly. There was a resident that said that they smelled like an odor in the air at the last meeting, and wanted me to share this number that everyone can call to report a complaint. And it's great to put a complaint in, because then it creates, it compiles a report so that there's a case, to look into it, and then they send out an investigator. And this is, the number is 1-800-334, and then you spell out order, or you can press 6367. And this is through the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. And I was requested to share it during this meeting, so I wanted to share it. And I'll also put the link in the chat, you know, so you can make the reports as you see fit. I see Leticia has her hand up, and I'll, yeah, Leticia, if you want to say something, you were the one who did request for me to share this number.
Thank you, Tanya, and that's really nice that you brought it. I just have a question because I have heard this before. Is that true that there must be like 3 complaints about that smell in order for them to investigate, or it's not true? I just want to make sure and get it right. Thank you.
Okay, I will follow up on that. I haven't heard that yet, but I will confirm with the Bay Area Quality Management District to see if that's the case. And then other reports. So we did get a request to the MAC for the North Richmond Music Festival from Degina Burks. She's planning on having it in July. And she wants the help of the North Richmond MAC to help with the festival. They're gonna be honoring Dr. Henry Clark. And I told her I would share it during the MAC meeting. I can also send a follow-up email to the North Richmond MAC. And if anyone else is interested, you know, please contact me and let me know, and I can follow up. But yeah, this was an event, you know, as we all know, and we're gonna adjourn the meeting in honor of Dr. Henry Clark. There's some push from the community to wanna honor him in a community event, and she wants to make the North Richmond Festival one of the events that we honor him. And so this is more of a question to the MAC, and we can follow up via email, but I wanted to share it. And you know, with the passing of Dr. Henry Clark, there's also going to be an open seat on the MAC, and you know, this is just a call for invitations to anyone who wants to join the MAC, you know, to contact me, and I can send you an application. Because there is now an open seat for a community member. And I know. Hello. The festival?
Is there any comments with is added?
Yeah, I was asked about the location for the festival, and she confirmed that it's going to be back at Shields Reed.
Okay.
July 15th.
Okay. So we'll have communication with you about how the MAC will be participating in. Okay, great. And is that any other questions for Tanya? Is that anything else you have on Tanya?
And tomorrow is the Birdie leaders are graduating. So I will be there. We'll be giving out certificates to them. So if you are somewhere in North Richmond and you want to cheer them on, they're going to be graduating around 10 to 10:30. 10 to 11 is going to be the graduation, and it's for, I know Martha isn't here because their son is graduating today. But you know, it's in the celebration of some youth leaders at Verde who helped a lot with the Safe Routes to School initiative and been helping with other initiatives in the school. So just wanted to uplift them and celebrate them, you know, and our office will be there tomorrow to give them certificates.
All right. Thank you, Tanya. So for CHDC, just want to say that, you know, Dr. Clark, truly a strong warrior and a fighter for, you know, just causes, you know, environmental, housing, just justice in general, just a strong force and advocate, you know, for supporting folks to get their rightly just, you know, cause and be able to break over new grounds. I mean, CHDC benefited from Dr. Clark's big push for addressing some of the blight that was in the community 30 years ago, and his work with Neighborhood House, and graduated on with the work that he helped to support CHDC to start making improvements in the community. And it took, you know, marching, it took, you know, fighting against power to do that. And he certainly was doing that same thing right up until he passed away. As you know, he was right at the meeting, I guess last meeting. I wasn't there, but I heard he was there and still on, dealing with different issues. And so, I think, we have a good group of folks here that carries on that same cause, but I think that's where we dig down and get our momentum from for what was already established, because, those are the shoulders that we're standing on to still, do the work that's needed. And, I think we're all grateful for him. We're all a better community for him, and we're going to miss him. So, and my two things I want to talk about has to do with Dr. Clark. He helped us to get the resource center up, and it is actually open. We'll have an official open. We're still getting different programs and stuff. And Ms. Thompson, whatever we can do to refer people over to you and vice versa, I think we should work in tandem. That's the spirit of it. But we'll have a consortium of a lot of different resources over there. And Tanya is working with me to hold some of these businesses accountable who said they were going to hire locally and going to work with us. But guess what? Now we're going to hold their feet to the fire, work out, different trainings and placements and whatever we can do to impact folks have an opportunity for employment that was promised, to us. And we're still working on a grocery store where we don't have the resources totally to build it, but we're getting close. And so hopefully that will be something that we can talk about if we found the funds, by the end of the year. So that's part of the goal. Anyway, I'm not going to take up much more time. I'd like to let someone from mitigation and also the senior center to talk about the activities that are going on over there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Victor is not here at this time, so I'll be reporting regarding mitigation. He wrote some notes. So Victor wants to, he continues to patrol the community and refer illegal dumping to the right departments. Victor wanted to give a big shout out to the city of Richmond, Richmond Sanitary, Jose from County Environmental Health, Andrew from County Code Enforcement, County Sheriff, and Lorena from the City Code Enforcement for always completing referrals that are sent to them in a timely fashion. Victor also wanted to thank all the grantees who have done beautification projects within our community of North Richmond. And if you haven't seen it yet, the North Richmond Green June newsletters have been picked up by the ambassadors, and they are delivering to the whole community by the end of this week. So Victor wants to also make sure that you read them so you get informed about our recap of Earth Day, Willie Spears cleanup, stats, beautification projects by the grantees, community meetings, our mitigation, Little League baseball, and the free landfill vouchers. Our mitigation with Shulsbury Park Little League team finished their spring session, and the teams learned baseball skills, participated in the ECO Academy event, and conducted 2 beautification projects. So that's Victor's report. And I'll quickly move into my report. We had on May 3rd, our WellCare Medicare Advance Plus presentation. The seniors received information about the Medicare benefits and getting questions that they probably, had no idea that they could actually apply for more benefits from Medicare. We had our Contra Costa Senior Legal Services Advanced Planning presentation today, and it was very well received. And we are we're working in conjunction with the City of Richmond Summer Youth Works Program. So we will have a youth worker working here for the summer, which is awesome. Our Contra Costa Health Services COVID-19 vaccination booster shot clinic went over very well. We have opened our new pantry and more residents and community members are coming to our pantry. We also have our bingo, which is on Tuesdays after lunch. We have our lunch program. Please come and join us. It's bingo exercise. And starting in the summer, there'll be free line dancing at the Multicultural Center starting July 14th, 12:30 to 2 o'clock. So that is, oh, one more thing. We have our computer lab, which is now open. It'll be open on Mondays from 12:30 to 2 o'clock. And we have a volunteer instructor who will be teaching seniors how to use the computers. Thank you.
And there is a ceremony Thursday. Oh, yeah, that was, you had the one there, you should just reiterate. Yeah.
Oh, so I definitely want to talk about the amazing renaming ceremony for Miss Maureen. Yay! It's gonna be this Thursday, and we invite all of you to come. It'll be from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock here at the Multicultural Center. She's done a lot of wonderful things in this community, and we would like for you all to come and celebrate with us on that day.
Ceremony starts at 1.
I'm sorry, the ceremony starts at 11. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Richmond Land. I'm sorry, Eleanor, you're on mute. Did you have a question?
Could I make an announcement about our 4th of July Parade and Festival, which will be on Monday, the 4th of July. Marina and Miss Annie and everybody, I want you to please come. Annie and Marina, you always came, so please show up on the 4th of July, even if it's just for a little while. But I'm asking everyone to come. It starts at 11 o'clock and it's in front of the CHDC building. We have it there every year for the last 10 years. So this will be our 10th one.
Yes, you can make your statement.
Thank you.
I'm glad we're going to be back on that 4th of July.
Yeah.
It's been COVID, so we'll be there.
All right.
Okay, was anybody from Richmond Land here? No?
I don't see anyone from Richmond Land.
Okay, how about, Princess doesn't have a report today, so we're gonna move to Urban Tilt. And Urban Tilt, is anyone here from Urban Tilt?
I don't see anyone from Urban Tilt either.
Okay, we'll move to our item number 8, our last item, and Annie, that is you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Chair Gilmore. One of the things that Marina was just asking me, well, I had mentioned about the wastewater, as I had mentioned the last meeting, that we had no representation from our wastewater District 2. And just so happened that I am your new district wastewater representative. And I was sworn in June the 1st. As you all can know, I went through the application the last 6 weeks. And now I am being orientated, the whole bit getting set up in order to represent our constituents here in District 2. So just to say that, I just want to mention that that was in the minutes. I did say at that time there was no representation, and I didn't know that I was going to be part of the representatives for this district at this
Congratulations,
time.
Annie. Congratulations.
So with that, Mr. Chair, I'm going to open up and in closing for our Dr. You have one more thing before the closing? Oh, yeah, you had something.
Yes, so in light of continuing to honor Dr. Henry Clark, there are many ways that we have been honoring him. I'll share really quickly this resolution that our office wrote For Dr. Henry Clark, this will be made available to any community groups or people who want to honor Dr. Henry Clark at an event or a meeting. You know, we can make it available to you to be able to give it away. Another way is Supervisor Joya did adjourn the Board of Supervisors meeting today in honor of Dr. Henry Clark and gave a very profound and heartfelt speech about Dr. Henry Clark. And when I reached out to the MAC to see how we wanted to, you know, really honor Dr. Henry Clark, some North Richmond MAC members took on the initiative to start an annual leadership award in honor of Dr. Henry Clark. So this is the Dr. Henry Clark Leadership Award, and it's in recognition to leaders in the community that really continue the legacy of Dr. Henry Clark with the same spirit of fighting for social justice, for being fearless, for speaking up for the people who don't feel empowered, and really continue to do the work, you know, that is needed in our community so that everyone in North Richmond lives a better life, you know, today, tomorrow, and in the future. And this year, for the first year that is launched, you know, the goal is that every year the North Richmond MAC will decide who the awardee is. And this year, you know, it was decided that, you know, one of the most outstanding, one of the most hardworking women that I know, and just she does it with such style and class and with a big smile, and you know, she just has like a long list of all her accomplishments, and she continues to push on many more. Is Marina Brown. And Beverly did include a prize to go with it, and I just really want to honor you for all your work. And
Congratulations.
I'm the first recipient.
The first recipient is make history.
Oh my God. Oh, I gotta make frogs from this thing. Right. Thank you. Wonderful. Oh my, thank you so much. Thank you. I have to wear this with total pride in honor of the big icon of this community in loving memory of Dr. Henry Arthur Clark. So I thank you all. And that's so thoughtful. And I'm totally surprised.
And also, while she's preparing to open up her envelope, I just want to say that she did sit on the board with Dr. Clark also. So she is a former MAC member also.
Oh my goodness. How nice. What a moment. Okay. $500.
Congratulations, Miss Brown.
Yes, congratulations.
And that is really great. Wow. Yes.
No wonder you said, oh, wow. I'm surprised. Thank you.
That's really great.
That's wonderful.
It is.
Yeah, they can
So
just-
Andy, you have the final deed to do here. So.
Sure. Yes, I do. So I will be reading the obituary that was prepared, and it is just a fraction of his life due to having a larger celebration that we will be having in the next 3 or 4 months. But for right now, we could not be remiss without having something to say about Dr. Clark. In loving memory, Dr. Henry Arthur Clark, PhD. Sunrise, September the 14th, 1944. June the 2nd, 2022, sunset. The graveyard
Service was today, June the 7th, 2022, at Rolling Hills Cemetery, Richmond, California. Officiating was the Muslim ministers. That's a mistake. Obituary. Dr. Arthur Clark was born on September the 14th, 1944, the son of Jim and Sadie Clark. He grew up in North Richmond and attended elementary, junior, and senior high in the Richmond Unified School District. He furthered his education at Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, California, where he received his AA, San Francisco State, where he received his BA and his master's, and further received his PhD. Dr. Clark met the love of his life, Ray, which they married, and from this union, one wonderful son, Omar, was born. They were married for 40 years. During the years, Dr. Clark world traveled to Africa, Iran, Copenhagen, China, Ireland, Jerusalem, Cuba, and El Salvador. His life work presented herein only tells of a fraction of the justice he fought for over decades. Dr. Henry A. Clark's historical commitments of service to North Richmond communities and travel to world conferences. Dr. Henry Clark's life work, environmental and climate justice. He entered into employment with Boston Environmental in the early 1980s. His passion led him to become founder of the West County Toxic Care Coalition in the late 1980s to the present. Dr. Clark holds the title of the original member of the North Richmond Municipal Advisory Council until his passing. Dr. Clark fought for the North Richmond community to have its own health center. In 2000 and in 2002, Dr. Clark became board chairperson of the Center for Health Advisory Board. In 2000, founder of the Earth Day in North Richmond. In the early 2000s, founder of the North Richmond Blues Festival, and many, many more outstanding accomplishments. October the 6th, 2018, North Richmond Shoreline Open Space Alliance, recognition of his outstanding contribution to the community and protection of the North Richmond shoreline. Dr. Clark, his story is the award-winning document, Exploration of Our History North Richmond series by our outstanding award-winning filmmaker, Doug Harris. Family. Dr. Henry A. Clark departed this life June the 2nd, 2022. He preceded in death by his father and mother. Baby brother died at birth. Sam, James, William, and Zakai, and more. He leaves to cherish his memory, his loving wife, Ray, one son, Omar, and Danielle, two granddaughters, Koi and Kai, one sister, Jahara Clark, one brother, Roy, a close nephew, Rufus King, nephew Kerman, and a host of other relatives and friends. His favorite Psalm, scripture in the Bible, was Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In acknowledgement, the family wishes to express the deepest appreciation to all for your cards, your calls, visitation, prayers, and other expressions of kindness. The family would especially like to acknowledge the expressions of the appreciation to the Fuller Funeral Services in company and the Muslims ministers. With this, in conclusion, we have a save the date for a memorial service for Dr. Henry Clark. And it will be, save the date, will be September the 17th, 2022. The actual location is to be determined, but as you know, North Richmond is only 7 blocks by 7 blocks. We will find a space to have this memorial service. And thank you on behalf of the family.
Thank you, Annie. And let's let the record show we're now adjourning in honor of Dr. Henry Clark. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.